Okay. So in our previous lecture, we discussed about the construction of eyes and the different elements or organs the eye have, and about the retina, and how does the how we are able to see something from our eye, right? Today, we'll read about the power of accommodation, basically how lens performs, what is the how lens changes itself so that it forms the correct image on the screen or correct image on the lens. Like in the previous chapter, when we were studying about lens, we used to keep our object on the place so that we can get a particular image on the screen, right? But here, my screen is fixed, right? My screen is not changing, so I have to adjust my object will also be not be changing the position if I'm seeing a particular thing and I wanted to see it as there only, so it is not also changing the position, right? So it can be very far also or it can be very close also. Then in that case my lens has to adjust itself so that we are able to see the screen as the image should be formed on my retina. Clear? ठीक है. So the eye lens is composed of fibrous jelly-like material. Its curvature can be modified to some extent by ciliary muscles, right? The change in the curvature of the eye can thus change its focal length. Now, what is curvature? If I'm saying it is changing its curvature, so what does that mean? Let's say, for example, okay, right? And this is a bigger circle here, right? So you can see that this one is having less of curvature, whereas the curvature of a smaller circle is more bulged, right? Right? Now, the circle with more bulged curvature will be having more focal length or lesser focal length, L- right? Shorter focal length. And the one with the less bulged curvature will be having longer focal length, correct? So here, now we'll understand that lens also can change its curvature according to the need, means where it wants to form the image. Can you see here in both of these lenses there is difference in their curvature? Okay? Okay. So now an eye can focus the image of the distant object as well as the nearby objects on the retina by changing the focal length or by changing the converging power of its lens, because it is the convex lens, right? So by changing the converging power, it can change the position of the image by changing its focal length. So thus its focal length increases when the muscles are relaxed, the lens become thin. This is important, that when the muscles are relaxed, the lens is thin. Now, if the lens is thin, the focal length, it will be longer. Why? Because my lens is thin. So it will be the part of a very big circle, right? Correct? And if it is big circle, that means more radii, means lengthier radii of curvature, and also half of it, that is focal length, will also be longer, right? So its focal length, thus the focal length increases. It enables us to see the distant object clearly. So if we wanted to see the object that is quite far away, so our muscles will be relaxed. It happens in our daily life also, that when we are seeing the far images, we don't have to stress our eyes much, right? But when we are watching our mobiles or when we are reading for a longer hours, our eyes feel stressed, right? Why so? Because when you are looking at the object closer to the eye, the ciliary muscles are contracting. This increases means contracting, they are pulling it upwards. They are contracting. So since they are pulling it upwards, what is happening? The curvature is increasing. Understanding? Since it is pulling it outwards, we can say, or upwards, the curvature of the lens is increasing. So because of that, the eye lens becomes thicker. Consequently, the focal length of the eye lens decreases. This enables us to see nearby objects clearly. Okay, but since our muscles are in a contracted form, so for longer hours, if we are seeing something very near to the eyes, then what happens? Our eyes feel quite stressed, right? Okay, so that yes. So the ability of the eye to adjust its focal length is called accommodation. This power that our eye lens has to adjust its focal length according to the need is known as accommodation. Okay. So we can say this is the accommodation of an eye lens. However, the focal length of the eye cannot be decreased below certain minimum limit. You can do it just now also. Take a pencil or paper, write something on it, or take a book. Okay, bring it near your eye, bring it near your eye. After a limit, it will get blur, right? It will get blur. Why? Because the the comfortable distance, the minimum comfortable distance that we say from our eye is 25 centimeter. If something is away from 25 or away from the 25 centimeter from our eyes, our eyes are comfortable, like they are not that much stretched, or they are comfortably seeing the objects, right? But if it is coming closer, our again ciliary muscle has to give it more stretch, means they have to more contract. But again, there is a limit, right? Because in the first line only they said can be modified to some extent. We are also able to see things very far, but not much far. After some time, it will get blur, right? Right? So similarly, for the closer things also, there is a limit that after 25 centimeter it gets more stressed, our eyes get strained, right? So they are therefore we feel strain in the eyes if something is coming very near to the eyes. To see an object comfortably or distinctly, must hold it about 25 centimeter from the eyes. This is known as near distance for the eyes. Okay, or the minimum distance. So 25 centimeter from the eye is the minimum distance at which object can be seen more distinctly without strain. But nowadays we are always looking into phones and that distance is very less, which causes strain in the eyes. Okay. It is called it is called least distance of distinct vision. So MCQ can be there that what is the least distance of distinct vision? That is 25 centimeter. Also, what is the near point of the eye? Again, 25 centimeter. Okay. So two questions can be come from here, that what is the minimum limit, okay, or near point or least distance of distinct vision. All of them has the same answer, that is 25 centimeter. Now, for a young adult with normal vision, a near point is about 25 centimeter. The farthest point is if there is no horizon, like for example, our earth is round, right? So when we are watching, we have a limit to watch. But if you see, we are able to see moon, and moon is very far away from us, right? So our far point, we are not able to count because when the horizons come, our vision gets blur, right? When the horizon is there, our vision gets blurred. But since we are able to see distant objects, we are able to see stars, we are able to see many things, and they are very far away from us, right? That's why we say that the farthest point up to which the eye can see the object is clearly called the far point of the eye. It is infinity for the normal eye. Okay? If it is an effective eye, then it happens that we are not able to see the far points clearly. Okay? You may note that a normal eye can see objects clearly that are between 25 centimeter to infinity. So if we have three questions here regarding the near point, regarding the far point, that is infinity, and what is the range of the normal eye, that is 25 centimeter to infinity. From this paragraph, three kind of, and also about accommodation. The definition of accommodation can come also, that what is accommodation according to you? So the ability of the eye lens to adjust its focal length is called accommodation of eye lens. Okay. Sometimes the crystalline lens of people at old age becomes milky and cloudy. This condition is called as cataract, और हिंदी में हम क्या बोलते हैं? मोतियाबिंद. Okay. So यहाँ पे क्या होगा? विजन ब्लर हो जाएगा. विजन ब्लर क्यों होगा? क्योंकि ऑन द लेंस वी आर सेइंग कि अब एक मिल्कीनेस, एक क्लाउडीनेस आ चुकी है. ओके. सो अगेन, मैक्सिमम अमाउंट ऑफ लाइट इमेज, इफ यू रिमेंबर, अगर हमारे पास लेंस है और हम लेंस को कवर कर देते हैं, सो इमेज विल बी देयर, राइट? इमेज फॉर्म होगी, लेकिन इमेज की इंटेंसिटी अफेक्ट हो सकती है, राइट? करेक्ट. The this causes partial or complete loss of vision. अगर cataract बहुत ज़्यादा है, if it is completely covering the lens, then again vision loss हो जाएगा. या फिर अगर partial है तो image की intensity बहुत कम होगी, clear vision नहीं हो पाएगा, राइट? सो अगर कैटरेक्ट फॉर सपोज इस एरिया में है, सो इमेज फॉर्मेशन विल बी देयर, बट इंटेंसिटी मतलब धुंधला दिखेगा, इंटेंसिटी ऑफ द इमेज वॉन्ट बी क्लियर. Okay. Also, if it is causing problem in the accommodation, right, then in that case also image formation में problem आएगा. Okay. Now, in the modern times, we have technology that can restore the vision through cataract surgery. उसमें अगर vision बहुत ज़्यादा खराब हो चुका है, complete loss of vision हो चुका है, या फिर lens काफी हद तक damage हो चुका है, so many a times a new lens or artificial lens is inserted, and if it is a little or the initial age of the cataract, तो उस cataract को पहले medicine से धीरे धीरे फिर surgery से remove करने की कोशिश करते हैं. Okay. Okay. So first we'll write down regarding the accommodation, and then we'll continue with the defects of the vision. Okay. A normal eye can see the distant objects as well as the nearby objects. A normal eye can see the distant objects as well as the nearby objects clearly due to its power of accommodation. Clearly due to its power of accommodation, right? Up, if the light is coming from far away point, so what will be the nature of light? Very good. So write down the ray of light coming from a distant object, that is at infinity, are parallel to one another when they reach the eye. Now, up, if it is if the parallel lines are coming, so we need a converging lens so that the image can be formed on the retina, right? So in that case, the converging power should be like our focal length should be increase or decrease. If the focal length will be decreased, my lens will be like this, right? So it will be forming the image before the retina, right? Since they are coming parallelly, so I have to make my converging power so that they are converging at the retina. Are you understanding my point? It should be having low converging power. If the parallel rays of the light coming from the distant object we are having here, right? So we have this convex lens. This convex lens is having more focal length, right? Now, if uh, more focal length will be having less converging power. Correct? More focal length will be having less converging power. Since these lines are parallel, अगर diverge होती, if the lines were diverged, तो मुझे ज्यादा converging power, क्योंकि अगर देखो पास से अगर कोई चीज आती है तो वो बहुत diverged आती है, right? वो converge थोड़ी आएगी, वो तो diverged form में मेरी eyes के पास आएगी, राइट? देन इन दैट केस मुझे कन्वर्जिंग पावर मेरी काफी हाई चाहिए, क्योंकि वो मेरे पास डाइवर्स्ड वे में रिसीव हो रही है, करेक्ट? तो उसको कन्वर्ज करने के लिए, उसको स्क्रीन पे लाने के लिए आई नीड हाई कन्वर्जिंग पावर। सो मुझे वहां पे फोकल लेंथ ज्यादा चाहिए, सॉरी कम चाहिए, करेक्ट? ताकि जल्दी मिल सके, है ना? लेकिन ये पैरेलल लाइंस हैं, ये डाइवर्जिंग नहीं है, तो इनको कन्वर्ज करने के लिए मुझे बहुत ज्यादा कन्वर्जिंग पावर नहीं चाहिए होगी। ओके, सो राइट डाउन द पैरेलल रेज ऑफ लाइट, द पैरेलल रेज ऑफ लाइट coming from a distant object need a convex lens of low converging power to converge them or focus them to form an image on retina of the eye. Therefore, the convex eye lens of low converging power is the one having large focal length and it is quite thin. And it is quite thin. इतना clear हुआ? Okay. Now coming to the second point. Second point means if the object is quite near to me. So if the object is quite near to me, the light rays coming from the nearby object is diverging. इतना clear है? Okay. So we'll write down this point that the rays of the light coming from a nearby object are diverging or spreading out when they reach the eye lens or when they reach the eye. Okay. So the convex eye lens of high convergent power is the one having shorter focal length or short focal length and it is quite thick. If you want, you can make this diagram for your future reference that these lines are parallel. Okay? And if the lines are parallel, that means these lines are coming from infinity. So light rays coming from a distant object are parallel. The light rays coming from distant object are parallel. Second, if this is my object O, then the light rays coming from this object will be diverging. So the light rays coming from a nearby objects are diverging. Clear? ओके, अब हम शुरू करेंगे। ये था बेसिक ऑफ अकोमोडेशन, मतलब अकोमोडेशन को समझने के लिए इंफिनिटी से कैसे बिहेव करेगा और यहाँ पर अगर पास में है तो कैसे बिहेव करेगा। सो नाउ राइट डाउन द नेक्स्ट सेंटेंस दैट एन आई कैन फोकस द इमेज ऑफ द डिस्टेंस ऑब्जेक्ट्स, इसके हेडिंग डाल दो अकोमोडेशन। एन आई कैन फोकस द इमेज ऑफ द डिस्टेंट ऑब्जेक्ट्स as well as the nearby objects on its retina by changing the focal length of its lens. Second point, ciliary muscles. The ciliary muscles can change the thickness of the eye lens, therefore changing its focal length. When the eye is looking at a distant object, then the ciliary muscles of the eye are relaxed. अब now what is happening in the detail, this is extra, कि अब relaxed form में basically हो क्या रहा है? Relaxed form में what is happening? In the relaxed form, जो ciliary muscles हैं वो suspensory ligaments को pull कर रही हैं. अब जब वो रिलैक्स स्टेट में सस्पेंसरी लिगामेंट्स हमने पढ़े थे, जब उनको पुल करेंगी तो लेंस जो है क्या है, ऊपर की तरफ क्या होगा, खिंचेगा, राइट। ठीक है, लेंस पे एक प्रेशर बनेगा, जब लेंस ऊपर की तरफ से खींचा जाएगा तो वो क्या हो जाएगा, थिन, करेक्ट, right? So now what will happen because of this? The lens will get thinner, increasing the focal length of the lens. इतना क्लियर है ना कि पतले लेंस जो होंगे उनका फोकल लेंथ बड़ा क्यों, क्योंकि बड़े सर्कल का पार्ट होंगे, और जब बड़े सर्कल का पार्ट है तो फिर फोकल लेंथ ज्यादा होगी। ठीक है, सस्पेंसरी लिगामेंट्स उस टाइम क्या करेंगे, सस्पेंसरी लिगामेंट्स उस टाइम हो जाते हैं लूज। अब जैसे यहाँ पर इफ यू सी दिस लेंस, ये हमारा लेंस है, इससे डायरेक्टली अटैच होते हैं सस्पेंसरी लिगामेंट्स और यहाँ पर होती है मसल्स। ठीक है, अब जब मसल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो रही है, ठीक है, मसल जब कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो रही है तो यहाँ पे ये सस्पेंसरी लिगामेंट्स हमारी जब वो रिलैक्स थी, ठीक है, हो सकता है रिलैक्स स्टेट में यहाँ पे दे आर अटैच इन सर्टेन वे की खिंचाव किस पर आ रहा है, सस्पेंसरी लिगामेंट्स पर आ रहा है। ठीक है, ऐसे इमेजिन कर सकते हो व्हेन यू आर कीपिंग योरसेल्फ लूज, तो आपके कुछ मसल्स अगर शोल्डर वाले देखोगे तो वहां पे दे आर इन अ स्ट्रेच्ड फॉर्म, दो योर बॉडी इज इन लूज, दो योर बॉडी इज लूज, लेकिन ये जो शोल्डर के पास वाली मसल्स हैं वो स्ट्रेच्ड है, करेक्ट, राइट। तो ऐसे ही यहाँ पर, और जब मैं अपने उसको हाथों को स्ट्रेच करती हूँ तो अब उनको टच करो, नाउ दे आर रिलैक्स्ड, राइट। तो यहाँ पर भी जब मेरे ये कौन से मसल्स थे, सिलियरी मसल्स, सिलियरी मसल्स जब रिलैक्स थे तो दे वर हैविंग अ फोर्स और अ काइंड ऑफ स्ट्रेस ऑन सस्पेंसरी लिगामेंट्स, जिसकी वजह से वो खिंच रहे थे, और उनके खिंचने की वजह से मेरा लेंस पतला हो गया। ठीक है, लेकिन जब मेरे ये सस्पेंसरी सॉरी सिलियरी मसल्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हुए, तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होने की वजह से हो सकता है कि वो सस्पेंसरी लिगामेंट्स के इतने ज्यादा कांटेक्ट में नहीं है, राइट, व्हेन दे आर कॉन्ट्रैक्टिंग। सो सस्पेंसरी लिगामेंट्स क्या हुए, लूज हो गए। जब सस्पेंसरी लिगामेंट्स लूज हुए तो मेरा लेंस भी लूज हुआ और उसने अपने आप को थिक कर लिया। सो वील राइट डाउन व्हाट वी वर व्हाट वाज आवर लास्ट पॉइंट, relaxed. So what I was saying, so यहाँ से start होगा that the relaxed ciliary muscles of the eye the suspensory ligaments pulls the suspensory ligaments attached to the eye lens tightly, attached to the eye lens tightly. Then the suspensory ligaments in return pull the eye lens, due to which the eye lens gets stretched and becomes thin. Last point for the distant point, that is, the thin lens has large focal length but its converging power is small. ठीक है, ये जो कन्वर्जिंग पावर है ये इनफ है, जो पैरेलल रेज आ रही हैं उनको कन्वर्ज करके रेटिना तक लेकर आने में। ठीक है, तो इसलिए हमको उतनी ही कन्वर्जिंग चाहिए, बहुत ज्यादा कन्वर्जिंग पावर नहीं चाहिए। ठीक है, ऑल्सो when we are looking at the distant objects, we say that our eyes are in relaxed state. ठीक है, so distant object को जब हम देखते हैं तो our eyes are in relaxed, or we can say we have relaxed eye or relaxed state of eye, right, relaxed state of eye. When the eye has to look at the nearby object, the ciliary muscles of the eye contract. The contracted ciliary muscles makes the suspensory ligaments loose. They stop pulling the islands, full stop. The islands bulges out under its own elasticity and becomes thick. The thick islands has small focal length or short focal length, but its converging power is large or high. इतना clear हो गया? Okay. Now about the definition of accommodation. So we'll write down the ability of the eye to focus distant object या फिर जो हमने सबसे पहले लिखा था ना, सबसे पहला सेंटेंस जो लिखा था, the eye can focus image of distant object rather than near object on its retina by changing the focal length of its lens is called accommodation. ठीक है, accommodation में जो पहला सेंटेंस है that I can focus the image of the distant object as well as the nearby objects on its retina by changing the focal length of its lens is known as accommodation. Now about the far point and near point. A normal eye has a power of accommodation which enables object as far as infinity and as close as 25 centimeter to be focused on the retina. Okay, now write down the other heading, that is range of vision of a normal human eye. Write down the farthest point from the eye at which an object can be seen clearly is known as the far point of the eye. Second point, the far point of a normal eye is at infinity. Second, about the nearest point, that is the nearest point up to which an object must be placed so that a normal eye may see it clearly without any strain is called the least distant of distinct vision, and it is 25 centimeters. It is also called the near point of an eye. But last point for today, that is range. So we conclude that the range of vision of a normal human eye is from infinity to about 25 centimeters. ठीक है? Okay. So this was it for today's session. We will discuss defects of vision and their correction in the next class, in the next section. ठीक है? Okay. Have a nice day. Take care. So students, I really hope you like this session. If you have any doubt, you can definitely ask me in the comment section, and I will also add the link for my Telegram group and channel where you will get all the required PDFs regarding your syllabus. And please do like, subscribe, share and comment. Hit the bell icon for regular updates. Have a nice day. Thank you.